cause I can do it my way. Me making music's like shooting hoops in the driveway.
Okay, welcome back to Mastered with Mike. Today we're sitting down with Shane Kulman, also known as Enchantress Shane, and probably by many other names at this point now. I spoke to Shane, it's got to be 15 years ago maybe, about a social network I had made for children with special needs, and Shane was a special ed teacher back then. I think she interviewed me for something.
Yeah.
But I've been following Shane's social media for like 15 years, and Shane is a chameleon. In one breath, she's doing comedy, and another breath, she's life coaching. Another breath, she's working with kids with special needs. So Shane fits the bill for everything Mastered with Mike stands for, which is following your passions. And if I could use one word to describe Shane, it is passionate.
Ooh.
So I'm very excited to sit down and talk with her today, and I'm excited to share Shane with the rest of the world. I know that, based on your, social media stuff, you must have a gigantic following. If you don't, I hope you do someday, because you're endlessly entertaining and fun and brightly colored. I actually had never heard of the mermaid parade before until you posted something about it.
Nice.
So I'm excited to dig into this conversation with you, Shane. Welcome.
Thank you. I feel very seen and very understood by you, which is always a nice way to start to talk to people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So why don't we, start a little bit with, who is Shane Kulman? Where do you live? What do you do? Give me the origin story of Shane.
Well, I live in my heart, whether I like it or not. It's one of those things that, and everything you mentioned, I'm always listening and I extract. It's what I do with people, whether they're 4 years old on the autism spectrum or they're 80 and they want their sex life back. Like, everyone needs special attention and everyone wants to know they feel understood and seen. They might not use those words, but when I used to work with kids with special needs, it's like they act out more when there's more stress on them. And when I say act out, it's in ways that are not appropriate for the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But when you meet someone and they feel gotten or you understand them, like you just did introducing me, I can relax. And when I relax, you get the best of me. If I'm sitting here thinking like, oh man, I hope he asks me the right questions. I hope his listeners get me. I hope I feel understood. I'm not present. I can't actually answer you because I'm trying in my head to make myself be figured out and understood.
That makes total sense. And I feel like in this day and age, that is what people want most, is to be seen, right? Like, people want to be understood and people want you to get them. You know what I mean? And I think I do, you probably do, but I think the world doesn't take the time to sit down and try to get each other. We're so tribal these days, right? Right, left, gay, straight, everything in between. We're in a camp. But I think, if you just talk to people, and I've spoken to quite a few people on this podcast, and it doesn't matter where you lie on any spectrum. At the end of the day, we want to be loved, we want to be heard, we want to feel safe. And that is pretty much just across the board what I've seen in this little endeavor of mine. So I think you're the right person to do it, Shane.
Well, I'm going to take us on a deep dive. But first, I can say I live in the Rockaways. So
cool.
So the deep dive is when people are not emotionally grown up, they live from a place of, I'm right, you're wrong. And that is like a 10-year-old, or if everyone thinks back to their childhood, they just wanted to be right. And we were indoctrinated into a school program that's like, if you don't pass, you're in trouble, no matter what. Even if you're a teacher, which I've been,
Mm-hmm.
you are fighting to be punished, right? Did you take too many days off of school? Did you come in late? Did you track in mud in the school? Every security guard, I don't want to say many security guards are so ready to put up a fight right when you walk into a school. And so you have to walk around with your defenses up unless you've taken the time to self-develop and grow. So as a person who's taken the time to self-develop and grow, and I'm not just saying in workshops or with coaches, but with autism, they're my teachers. Kids in prison, they're my teachers. Millionaires who want better sex lives, they're my teachers. Because I am open enough to listen, like you addressed. I'm not fighting to be seen. I'm not fighting to be right. I know I'm right. And I don't have to prove it to anybody. And I want everyone to really understand when somebody shows up with a shitty attitude or something that doesn't feel right to you, it's not about you. It's about their capacity to go beyond their own ego. And if you think about a 3-year-old that's like, it's mine, I want it,
Mm-hmm.
we forgive them, sort of. We're like, okay, well, they're 3. When someone's 15, it's like, oh, they're a teenager. After that, we just think people are idiots.
Yeah.
They're just struggling in their own world. And so we all are responsible for taking our own responsibility for taking our own path to growth and to be able to say, you know what? I don't really jive with this person. How can I get away from them?
Mm-hmm.
It could be a job, it could be a business, it could be a client. But if it's not aligned emotionally, it's not going to work. It's so powerful to make those choices and decisions from an empowered grown up place versus like, I'm out of here. I'm taking my
Mm-hmm.
bat and I'm going home.
So how did you develop this mindset and view of the world? Where
Ugh,
did this come from?
such a good question. Through being a struggling human since I was 3 years old and I had sensory issues and I was like, oh, it's so painful to have elastic on my underwear. It's so
Mm-hmm.
painful to have sand on my legs. Like, it wasn't like I thought about these things, but I was a struggling kid who wanted to eat the same thing every day. And I was a kid who was in trouble every day. So I grew up with a nervous system that was like always fighting and, freezing and just freaking out, basically. That should be another one.
Yeah.
Freaking out and in trouble all the time, not really focusing, not engaged, being sent into the class, in the hallway instead of the classroom. And then I became a teacher and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get along with my assistants because I just couldn't believe that they were giving kids sugar in the mornings and it's blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I took my first course and it was Mama Gina's Womanly School of Arts. And I didn't get along with women. I didn't really realize it. And then I was like, ugh, I don't want to be in this room. And then I realized, oh, there's powerful women here. There's
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of different women here. And I started to see where my limitations were blocking me from so much.
Yeah, I mean I love that, and it's funny. I just interviewed a friend of mine, Mark Chabis. Shout out Mark Chabis. He's a medium and life coach, and he's kind of developing a theory on why, as adults, we are stuck sometimes, and
Mm.
how why we act the way we do. And his theory. And I haven't fleshed it out with him yet, but he kind of left it on a cliffhanger. He was going to tell me about it next episode, but it has a lot to do with us kind of cutting off the parts of us as kids. Like when we were a child and we were embarrassed, our ego like entraps that part of you and cuts it out. So when you're an adult and you act a certain way, maybe even acting childish, that could come from a place. Maybe you did something like that as a child and your body reacted. People reacted to you.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, I can't do that anymore. And when you cut that part of you out, you also cut out the parts you loved too. So you
Yeah.
cut out the behavior that made you stand out, but then maybe you also loved art back then and it happened in art class. And so now you lost the love for art and you lost that one behavior. It's a pretty interesting theory, but I think you're right. Part of the conversation I had was, I barely remember my childhood. I remember super good parts and super bad parts, but I very rarely think about it often. And I think it has we're not different people when we grow up. We're the same child we were as a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
and we lose that. Part of what I'm doing now, I'm doing like a 30-day meditation challenge. And part of my meditation is meditating on my childhood. So just to see what comes up, and who knows what comes up.
I love it. I love that curiosity. And, we can really travel. I think of like a pendulum, right? So, as dark and as ugly and scary and shamed you feel, you can get that joyful. So, if you're someone that goes that dark, but if you don't let yourself feel all that shit and shame and grossness, you're never going to get higher.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm an intense person. How did I deal with this? Because therapy was like, I'm not, I was in the right phase. I became an actor. And so I published 3 books. I'm an actor and I teach improv acting as a way to be, act, but not as a way to become an actor. That
Mm-hmm.
just happened, but as a way to feel different parts of yourself where it's not real, but the body doesn't know the difference. So if I'm in a scene and I act as my 5-year-old self or as a 5-year-old self, we don't really even need to remember our actual childhood. Sidebar, because we remember it how we remember it. There's no facts.
Right. Exactly.
We can reenact that and clear that space that's been tucked away, like you said. And I've done that as a teenager. I've done that as my mother, like all these different areas where they're just like, I don't know, something's not there. And there's so many places where we can get stuck. Receiving is one really big one for men and for women, receiving help, receiving money. And I wrote a book, a coloring book, which I brought to the table.
Cool.
You can tell.
Fuck your
It's called
fears. I
Fuck
love
Your
that.
Fears. And this coloring book is awesome. By the way, each page, in case you're a neurotic colorer like I am, has black in the back, so you could use markers and it won't bleed through.
Oh,
I'm so cool. Anyway, so
that's
each
amazing.
page, yeah, so it's broken down into your teenager, your inner child, and your grown-up self. Because we have parts. My inner child wants to eat, I can't even say it because I'm going to do wants to eat a whole pizza for dinner. And I could do it, but it's actually not good for me. It's not good for my joints. It's not good for my body. So I can admit to you, I want the whole pizza, but I'm not going to actually give it to myself. Once we recognize these parts of ourselves and reclaim them, they're not such a big deal anymore. But if there's shame that I have with eating and eating too much and, oh my God, so am I fat? People think da da da. I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm going to manage it in my head. I'm going to go on dates and have half a slice. Meanwhile,
No.
so it's just an example, but it's like that's the way that we don't deal with those parts. And they turn into over drinking, overeating, over shopping, gossiping, because it's microaggressions that are just like, I'm actually mad. But if you give yourself permission, or forget give yourself, if you're guided to have permission to be angry, to be sad, to be that 5-year-old, you're lighter because you're not holding it. I think when I started doing my improv work, I didn't know what I was in for at all, but my eyes, the color of my eyes got lighter.
Really?
And I have theories about this because I think once we carry heavy stuff around, we sort of round our shoulders. We're like, once we don't give ourselves permission, like this show, to try all new things, we're like agreeing that we have to play small. We're agreeing we should go work in a factory and do one thing really well. But life is vast. And when I work with clients and I listen to people, they think they're doing a million different things, but really they're not. I'm a caregiver. I help people see themselves as great, whether it's someone who's 80, who's 5, who's 40, and they want their business to grow, who's somebody who wants their relationship to be better. It's making people great. And now I have a common denominator about what I do. So I've pivoted a million times. Today, I curated somebody's closet. I bought myself this hat.
I love it.
So I help people curate their life so that miracles happen and they change the view at which they see them. If they've been in trouble their whole life, right? Like I was from kindergarten up till I would say college, graduate school, I started really becoming like, I'm amazing. I was able to then see myself as not in trouble.
Really?
And I have an inner teenager that's like, I don't want to shower all week long. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to wash the dishes. I want to lay in bed. And I have to honor her and say like, okay, cool. And we're not going to do that. We're going to get in the shower. I showered before the show. I used it because I have these tools.
Yep.
And so we have these inner parts that you talked about, which I get so excited about, because if we don't claim them, they run the show. Guess what? I don't want my inner teenager dating for me. I don't want her spending my money. I don't want her running my business.
Yep.
Sometimes I want her to get dressed for me, but I don't want those parts that are angry and ignored to act out. That's basically, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I'm interested to find out how you went from teacher to this Enchantress Shane, which is what you are. Like, how did that happen?
Okay.
Tell
First
me.
of all, you might be the only one in this world. I'm not even kidding you. I don't say things like this flippantly. That actually followed the dots and brought me back.
Yeah.
So I took this Womenly School of Arts program, $5,000. I
Mhm.
didn't have the money. So I went on social media and I was like, what guy wants to pay for this? Nobody, but my friend Annie did. And I paid her back, but she put up the money up front. And I learned how to be friends with women. And I learned, and it's okay if I share this, I hope. I've learned it first. So I was a stripper at the same time I was a preschool teacher,
Uh-huh.
11 years. And in this program, they taught us this womanly arts, all different kinds of beautiful things. And they talked about and they taught us this sensual kind of dance. And I was like,
Mhm.
wait, what? We're telling people this now? I didn't tell everybody. I was dancing in Manhattan and Queens and Connecticut and Florida and Georgia and Hawaii. And I was like, oh, and the Enchantress was born. And I was like, wait, I don't want to work in schools where it's, oh, you have to be complaining. You
Mhm.
have to be underdressed. You're not supposed to look beautiful. You're definitely not supposed to be happy. And I was like, I hate schools. So then I started parent coaching and that came and I loved it. But I was dealing with a lot of parents who were like, I'm not the problem. I don't want to work on myself. It's my kid.
Mm.
Like, wait, your kid's actually perfect and they're communicating a ton. Just because they're not talking, they're saying a lot and it's not comfortable for you to look at that. So you want to medicate them. You want to change their furniture in their room. But actually, it's the way your relationship is with your partner that your kid is freaking out, you know?
Mhm.
And they're like, and I had some people that were interested in energy work and improv, but most of the times both parents were not. And so I was like, let's do a role play, which everyone understands. And it was bringing up stuff and they were getting triggered and they were like, yeah, well, this isn't going to work anymore. We don't want our payback. But I was like, okay, but that also triggered my insecurities of like, maybe I don't know what I'm doing. And it just didn't feel good. And the more I kept going, the more I was like, oh, it's intimacy. That's what I'm working with people on. So it wasn't like I just pivoted because I was bored. It's because it wasn't working. The recipe I had wasn't working for me, for them. And then once it's not aligned, no clients are coming. Things have
Right.
to be aligned. So I kept moving. I was teaching a beginner burlesque class because I didn't
Cool.
say stripper. But you know what? It wasn't really popular, or people were coming and getting triggered because guess what, was not a burlesque dancer. So then I took
Exactly.
the class to straight up stripper class.
Uh-huh.
And that became fun because I was relaxed. I wasn't trying to figure out how should I be a burlesque dancer. I wasn't.
Right.
So I'm a truth teller. If I'm not telling the truth, guess what? I'm going to suffer.
Right.
And that's kind of what's caused all this excitement is like whatever's most truthful for me is going to bring out my best.
That's awesome. I
Yes.
love that. I
Yes.
mean, first of all, I love the fact that you don't ever be ashamed to say you stripped. Who cares? I mean, that's awesome. And I mean, if you look at like nowadays, like pole dance class is considered like Zumba.
I know. But in 2016, it was like, wait, what are we talking about now? And I was only 19 when I started.
Mhm.
It wasn't like, and I'll tell you this is a really big piece of this because people automatically think a lot of things about stripping.
Mhm.
The worst thing that ever happened was I was working in Connecticut and a guy said, you look like you eat Oreo cookies late at night. Oh my God. Devastated. That like
Wow.
never did anything inappropriate physically. I went
Yeah.
home and I taught the next day. What that job gave me was permission to be beautiful.
Mhm.
I never had that. I grew up very, very self-loathing. Nobody would even believe I had such big hair. I covered my face. I had a nose job at 16. And working at that place at 19, I was like able to be in the mirror and be like, all these different people think I'm beautiful.
Mhm.
Just because it's a strip club, they assume I'm beautiful. It really cleared me of feeling ugly.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. And then the improv cleans up my heart and my inner self because I really was able to bring my colors forward, all my emotions. And it was a trigger fest. I mean, one time, we have agreements in improv. You don't touch anybody
Mhm.
and that's basically it. You don't put your hands on anybody. and I hit someone in a class. I was so triggered. It brings up your stuff, but it's a container. So your stuff gets looked at, and then guess what? Scene is over. So, and the scene, by the way, where I hit somebody, this woman who was kind of also her own special human threw gum at me. It's also not okay, but it wasn't touching, and I just had an impulse. So that's where Enchantress was born, where it's like, if somebody would ask, what does that mean now? It means I leave things in a better place than when I started. And so when I work with people and they're curating their lives, I help them do that. It's very intentional, whether it's the way they dress, the way they speak, who they date, how they eat. I don't help people with food, but I help people when they make choices. And when they live enchanted, then they can curate their choices and get rid of this victim. I like to say that there's a CVN. Everybody's either a complainer, a victim, or a negative Nelly at their core.
Mm-hmm.
And when people feel like life is happening to them, they live in a certain way where it's like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
parking, the way they dig out their snow, the way their elevator works, the way their kids talk to them. And so if we can own that, it can be moved. It's like owning that part. Gotta own all your parts. And once you do, you can clean them up and be like, oh shit, I'm doing it again. Instead of like blaming, instead of blaming outside things or people or situations.
Yeah, I mean, you must walk around and just it seems like you have a pretty intuitive, not even personality, but it's just that bone in your body, right? Like you could probably look at someone and be like, I know what's up with them.
So here's the piece of that. And the people who are listening right now that are like, oh my goodness, I'm like that too. I work with the sensitive populations because as cool as it is a freaking nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Like when I used to work with kids in preschool, and then I started this job at the time, I had started working with kids in prison. I was teaching them improv, and I was watching these teachers yell at these kids. And here I am going from one place, and then I'm going to a place where they might end up.
Yeah.
Really painful. Like at that age, they're learning they're wrong, they're bad, they're losers. Meanwhile, they're 3. And so I could see a lot of things, and it's really painful to see these things and to be like, so I would say things to kids like, you're always right. Some people aren't going to see it. I would just say these like mystical things because I was like, listen, I might be the only one that sees your pure heart right now. This whole school thinks you're, and teachers, I've been one. Who wants to be with any job 40 hours a week? Like,
Yeah. Tell
it's
me
not
about it.
normal. Yeah, 5 days a week and then give the people homework, the little people home. It's a nightmare. And so being a teacher, it's like I'm the asshole in this scenario. And like, I don't want to be that. So I stopped teaching. Now I took on a kid for 3 hours a week, and he's not ready for this like academic stuff. So what does he makes up songs and rolls on the ground? I'm like, listen, kiddo, I
Fine.
get it, but you're a pain in the ass to your teacher, and I am looked at like I have to fix you. So you
Right.
can see where my mind's at all day. But then I work with clients who are like, I can do this. And I'm like, here's what you're going to go do for the week. Let's talk in 2 months. Give me your great report. I'm not a handholder. With kids, I am, which is why I don't take on big cases, but I need to be entertained in my life. I can't do one thing all day. I will freak out and actually have resentment. So for all of those people listening who are like, oh, I have to pick one thing. No, you don't. You just have to be what you shared about me as a chameleon. You have to be able to be in flow and take really good care of yourself.
Yeah, I think that's super important, definitely. And I'm a teacher, and right now I work in elementary school, which is like, but for 10 years I worked in alternative high school. And it was great. It was great. And I loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. But it was a very small school, 60 kids in total, and like so much shit. The kids, they dealt with so much. And when you're around that much trauma for that much time, it has an effect on you. It really does. I was moved out just because I'm a special ed teacher, so I can go kind of wherever. But being on the outside of that, I was like, wow, that really affected me. For the 10 years I was there, the energy was big highs and big lows, big highs and big lows. And I loved it. But elementary is a lot more stable.
100%. I mean, when I worked in the prison school, it shined my heart. It was a
Mhm.
very short situation. And like you said, because I'm a
Keep
special
talking.
ed teacher, they could
Yeah,
put me anywhere.
exactly.
So I came in on the weekends to teach improv. And then they had a job for $25 an hour. And I was like, I'll take it because I'm a special ed teacher. So I began working with the kids in prison every day because I wanted to. And it was 2.5 years.
Wow.
And it was just enough, but like kids would, it was prison. So these kids were in trouble their whole lives. And I gave them permission to feel. And they'd be like, yo, miss, can we play that game today? And it was improv games. And kids who didn't want to play, there's so much power in silence. I'm like, okay, don't play. Just stand there.
Mhm.
And so I'd put the kid in a scene. This one kid, I'll tell this one scene.
Yeah, sure.
So he was really obese. He could have been 400 pounds and his face was really obese and he didn't want to partake. But I asked him, just stand up and go sit, go over there and sit in that chair.
Mhm.
And I picked a young girl and she loved acting.
Uh-huh.
Like, just yell at him about A, B, and C. He
Mhm.
stole your apple or whatever. I made it food related because he thought it was funny. There was so
Yeah.
much trauma there. But
Oh.
anyway, so she went on to yell at him and be like, da, 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 and he just sat looking at her. And it was the greatest scene ever. And so, but I had to control the environment and that's why
Right.
you could hang. But if I had to teach a curriculum,
No.
forget
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Forget it. Yeah. Well, because you feel for them and then you're like, hey, I'm going to make your life even more miserable. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, how did you wind up working in a prison? Like, how did that happen?
It was because I'm out there in the world yapping, whatever. And somebody said, oh, you should teach yoga at this place. And I was like, great. And I get excited like a teenager.
Sure.
And then when I was there at the time, acting was changing my life. So I was like, they need improv, but I'd never taught a class in my life. So I take my teacher, who I love, and she knew me before I was at all grown. And I said, you have to come to Brownsville, Brooklyn. She's like on the Upper East Side from LA. And you have to teach me how to teach these kids. Now, they weren't like, oh, cool, we're going to support your growth, Shane. They were wild. And my inner teenager came out and I wanted them to like me.
Of
So
course.
if one girl was like, this one girl, I love these kids. She was like, bah. She always had this big, crazy laugh. I did it too. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? And my teacher looked at me and I was like, oh, right. I'm the adult in this room right now. But I learned how to teach while teaching those kids.
Wow.
And that blew my channels open, my heart, and also my passion. I wasn't even caring about the kids. I was like, it was God's work. Like
Mhm.
I was healed with this improv. And now it makes me so emotional. I get to give it to these kids. Who am I?
Wow.
They were 13 to 18 or 17.
Mhm.
One class, they would come in medicated, heads hung. But then I did other things with them. I did mindfulness. We did like mini acting games and they just loved it. And then my teacher's teacher came in from LA. I was like, let's do a weekend workshop. He came in and taught them. And some of the kids were great. One kid, he put a mustache on his face. He wrote a script. He stayed till the end. Other
Wow.
kids were like, I want to go back to my unit, whatever. But oh my God, you're getting me to talk about the greatest thing ever. So I did
Yeah.
this thing called the Mindful Action Project. And it was about kids connecting with entrepreneurs
Mhm.
because when they are taught through something they love, they're going to be alive. And I had, when they started editing things and they started acting, I was like, you know what? Somebody who's working with editing would love this kid. He's a blank slate. He's got nothing to live for. But if he's excited about something, he's going to go all in.
Mhm.
And so with clients, with kids, whoever, I somehow find greatness. It's really not me. It's got to be God. And I give them permission to live out that greatness, whatever it is. I published 3 books. If somebody wants to publish a book, I can take them through the process.
Mhm.
If somebody who's 16 wants to start a business, great. Maybe working at McDonald's and school is not for them. Let's start a business. It's eyelashes, it's nails. You can do the process, but if you can't do marketing and sales, you don't have anything.
Right. Right.
So I help people see what's great about them and then bring it into the world however that's possible. It could be a dating app, it could be a book, it could be a business, it could be their own heart. But that ability to see that is something that's been a gift to me. I didn't work on that or study that. It's just like, I'm born of Holocaust survivors. I'm here to be joyful. And I think that's actually the reason is I'm a miracle. I
Yeah.
actually am a miracle. So I'm here to just pass that miracle on to others.
It sounds like you're a muse, is what it sounds like.
Yes. Yes. In many ways, I feel like people sometimes just pay me to hang out with me.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see why they would do that.
For everyone. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, do you still do improv now? Are you like actively improving, or where do you do it?
I wish. I mean, I teach it once a month in Rockaway, and sometimes I'm learning how to put myself in scenes, but there's something really nice to be the student of that class and not have to lead it. I do find fun helping people create scenes, like that's fun for me, but not as much fun as being in the class and
Sure.
during my whole life and just being like, tell me what to do.
Yeah. What am I filling up today? It's amazing. What was I watching? I was watching, what was it? I was watching an interview with Ethan Hawke. And, he's in so many amazing movies, right?
Yes.
And he was talking about what it's like to act with an amazing actor like De Niro or Pacino or something like that. He said, if you're acting with someone like that, they almost bring you into the wave. Like, they're so good
I love that.
that it's almost like gravity. It's hard not to embody the scene when you are acting with someone that has such like power. And it must be, and I've never acted before in my entire life, but it sounds amazing to be like, how do I become this person for this one scene? Like, how do I pull on my, life experience? Like I don't know if you saw the movie The Smashing Machine with The Rock that just came out. There's a scene, and it's like, The Rock is like The Rock, right? He's a wrestler, and he's like in big action movies, but he plays a drug-addicted MMA fighter. It's a true story. And at one point, he's in the hospital he overdosed, right? And his father comes in and is talking to him, and The Rock, this is the first time I ever realized he was a very good actor. Like, I thought he was a big personality, but he was able to embody like this childlike, he pulled the covers over his head and started crying. I was like, fuck, man, like The Rock's got chops.
I love it. You know what? There's an answer to your question. So there are embodiment exercises to do. And if I could just name the crux of it is, if you focus on the other person, which is basically what you just said, to focus on De Niro, or when you make your partner great, kind of like what you're doing with your guests. If you make your partner great, you're at least good. So in your head, thinking about yourself, do I look good? Am I, when The Rock is not present, you could tell. But he too has a part that is a sad, scared little boy. It might be the reason he's so big and personality based.
Yes.
Maybe when he was a little kid, he was a scrawny nothing and someone said, look at you, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
So he's able to connect with that again. And so good actors usually have an instrument that's trained to work with. Now, some of us, and there's different styles of acting, you can pull on something real in your life, but we all have stuff that we don't even think of in our life. You could see somebody, we do as teachers, you could see somebody suffering and move on with your day. But if you're a feeling person, you're like, ooh, I saw that. I felt it. It sucks. We all have the news to pull from today and the world.
Yeah.
So it's really healthy to actually forget about becoming an actor, but it's really healthy to focus outside yourself. That's personal growth. That's embodiment, when you're not worried about yourself and you're so full that you can be like, how are you doing today? And actually give a shit and actually listen and actually have a boundary and be like, wow, I really feel you. And if you want to talk about this later, because, it's tough navigating that situation of feeling. But the acting thing is actually a human thing. It's not just like on the stage. So this is a scene right now. We have scenes all day long. right? So the
True.
idea of learning how to be present takes practice. It's not just like something you do as an actor, you have to practice it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I'm acting all day as when I'm teaching. That's how I feel.
So that's interesting. And I want to just say, like, really good acting is being real.
Hmm.
And that's why you like The Rock's performance, because you're like, oh, that's real.
Yes,
And what
exactly.
we do in relationships, sometimes in jobs that we don't feel great about, is we're putting on a face.
Hmm.
And that's exhausting. And so, one simple thing, I'll give this as a tool to everybody. I use it, is right now I feel, RNIF. It's just
Hmm.
those words and 1 or 2 words right after it.
Really interesting. Yeah.
It, because we get into these stories and then the victim and the complainer it all start to, and then it's compounded and now we need a drink or now we
Hmm.
need a sandwich. But right now I feel alive. Right now I feel exhausted. Right now I
Hmm.
feel clean. Right now I feel thirsty. So it's a thought, a feeling, or a sensation, and it's just 1 or 2 words. And you can use it in conversation. You could use it before something hard. It's a way to just like
Yep.
1 word.
I like that. I
Yeah, it's
love
a
that.
really good tool, especially in those moments where you're like, this sucks. And because when it sucks, you actually can't be present, you know? And we can't walk around 24/7 being present because we would be overwhelmed and overcome with our emotional selves.
True. True. Very true. If so, how do people like? Okay, I'm intrigued by. Like I said, you're definitely amused. Like people are like, I need to get Shane to do X, Y, Z. Do they come to you with like, I want you to change this, or do they come to you and say, my life's broken, I need you to fix it? Like, how do people find you, and what do they ask you to do?
So people come to me when most of the times when they're like, what are you doing? My life doesn't feel like what yours looks like.
Right, right.
On some level, right? Now, I don't have a charmed life. Like my dad passed away in
Hmm.
November. Like I have some heavy duty stuff going on.
Yeah.
And today, what got me out of it was I was curating a closet for someone and I bought this hat. So you have to find your own inner muse, your own inner enchantress.
Hmm.
Most people, there's too much pain in the truth of what's really in the way. So when they reach out to me, they're really in a place where they're open enough to hear. And I'm not here, I don't nail people on like
Hmm.
what not working about them, but I'll give them actions to take because sometimes we can't hear the truth. It's almost too painful. So we're like, I got busy. I got hungry. Oh, I'm going to go on vacation. And people just like avoid.
Hmm.
But if they get a simple exercise, and so a lot of people do one-off sessions with me. That's all I'm doing right now is VIP sessions. They get something to do and they don't have to be consistent, but they have to do it enough that they could see a change.
Hmm.
So for one person, so I started going into the water in the winter with the New York Dippers Club.
Really?
Risks up the wazoo,
Yeah.
self-expression wise. Typically, I don't like to take risks. I'm not like a cliff diver or, but I did go in the water in the winter. And every second up to the moment I was in the water, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to get up. I don't want whining and complaining and like the whole time. And then I would go in the water and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to get out. I'm going to get out. I'm going to get out. I get out and I'm like, wait, I think it felt good. And then I go
Yeah.
back. Not everybody gets that kind of homework, but people get homework to do. Homework, I spell WERQ, fun enough where they can get disrupted. I help people disrupt what they're doing. And for one woman, I had her part her hair the other way. It could be something so simple, but we all find these grooves of comfort. And
Hmm.
when you have a groove, it turns into a ditch.
Yup.
And
Yeah.
people die in a ditch. And so just to start curating your way home, the way you put your makeup on, the way you free throw. I've worked with some really famous people who do things a certain way. That's the way I am, is basically what they say. And I'm like, well, how's it working? Well, it's not. Well, okay. So I don't really work with people who want to fight with me, but
Uh-huh.
I'm used to people's defenses coming up. I have a lot of defenses, so it's okay. But basically, people hire me to work with a group. Sometimes it's like 10 couples that want an improv class, or this. Sometimes they're like, I don't even know, but just come do whatever you do. Or I teach children's yoga, like 3 and 4-year-olds yoga. So if I want to say, if anyone's listening and they're like, I don't really know what need you to do, but you sound like you got a clue and many tools. You're right. I also write an advice column in the Rockaway Times.
Get
So
out of here.
you can get like a feeling, or I'm going to make your life better. No matter
Yeah.
what it is, you could go kicking and screaming. You could walk gracefully towards some change, but your limitations, you don't even need to know what they are. Your life is just going to feel better. As a therapist, I have a couple of masters in like therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always move people forward as much as something when they're having fun. When you're having fun, you're going to do it more. You're not like, I have to go to therapy. Either if you go to therapy, you're going to surrender and feel beat down, or you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be stagnant at some point. But my role is to help you move forward and to make you great. And I believe everybody's great. Everybody has genius and gifts and miracles. And so, maybe you buy my book, maybe you work with me, or you have me do a group class, whatever. It's really important to like the person who's leading you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, if you find me likable, if you find you likable, like, you have to like your teacher enough, because there's going to be moments where you want to blame them. And if you don't like them, you're going to be like, we're done. I'm out of here. So
Your therapy sounds fun. I will tell you that, like, I've been to therapy before, and I always found with therapists that, like, they will hang up on one thing they think is wrong and
yeah.
just harp on it, harp on, this is your problem. You have to fix this. I'm like, I don't think that's my problem. I don't think it is. Your therapy sounds awesome, though.
And also, like, it may not be the problem you're willing to look at right now.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so why harp on it? So let's look over there. It's not like you got one thing. It's like
Right,
these many
right.
areas of life. I don't even want to say it's like that could be refined. It doesn't need to
Yeah.
be different. Listen, not everyone's going to be a great, amazing human being, but if their relationship feels better, great. Maybe that's all they need to grow in this
Mm-hmm.
lifetime. We have to be open to the idea, like, there's no perfection, you know? And as a therapist, I don't, that title even feels very couch sitting.
Mm-hmm.
You might be standing up in the room across from me yelling, fuck you. And that is so brilliant, because guess what? We have anger. It's human,
Yep.
but we can't use it against your wife. You can't use it against your kid or your dog. You
Mm-hmm.
need a playground for it. And having a playground that's purposeful it's like, how could you not?
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. So what do you do for fun?
Well, I do a lot of shopping. I do a lot of painting. I'm an artist. I've sold some paintings.
Cool.
For fun, I look at the sun, like I stare at the ice. Sometimes I just stare off into space. I love feathers. I love crystals. Like, here's one that I love so much, and it's so
Ooh.
amazing. It's a paperweight of some kind, but it's like a golf ball. But
Uh-huh.
if you look into it, let's see, if you look into it, you can
It's
like
cool.
see certain things.
Yeah.
And to me, that's really fun. Organizing, I find fun. Creating systems, bringing in wood and painting it and putting glitter. I'm just like looking in my immediate.
Yeah, right? You're like a fortune teller.
I'm like a fortune teller. I like dressing up for sure.
Fun.
There's always like some costume piece that's laying around. I really like 80s big hair bands.
Love it.
Love Stevie Nicks. That's where my business everything comes from. Yeah, I'm a kid of the 80s. And
Yeah,
I
me
love,
too.
yeah. So we know we're different. We're
Yes.
different. And we know it's, if I'm feeling low and I put on like Motley Crue,
Fuck yeah.
I am ignited. There is
Yep.
something in me that's just like, I don't know, things don't feel so bad
Yeah.
anymore. Put on those headphones and I blast it. Like, I saw Pantera at Jones Beach.
Ooh,
I
so
don't
did
really
I.
Pantera.
So
Oh,
did
you,
I. I
oh,
did.
that's so great.
Yeah.
When you're there and you're like, look at this freaking dude. He's
Yep.
like, I don't know how old. I saw the Scorpion.
Nice.
It's like, if you're a rock star, if you're aligned with rock stars,
Mm-hmm.
how dare any of us do less than that
Yep.
in life? So whatever's really high energy, I'm into it. I'm inspired by it. Like if you're 60 years old and you're having like fire bombs, it's like,
Yeah.
what could I do if this
Yep.
guy, all of those types of things.
I was trying to. I have kids. My oldest is 17. I have twin boy and a girl, and they're 14. And I was just trying to explain to my older one, I'm like, you don't understand how much better I had it as a child than you do. You just don't get it. I was explaining, I'm like, look, yeah, 9/11 fucked a lot of things up, but so did phones and Life 360
Yeah.
and like,
You could get lost.
yeah.
You
Oh,
could
yeah.
disappear the whole day
Oh,
and then
yeah.
figure it out later. Like you don't have to figure it out and be found.
Of course. I mean, we had to worry about the white van, kidnappers. That was pretty much the only
Van.
thing.
Right. Yes. It's so funny. I had a van. I bought a van over COVID, and I have this little friend that I play with. Actually, she's in the book. She's the little girl in the book.
I love it.
And she'd be like, let's go in your van in color. Always had that part of me that's like, let's keep the door open. I was born in the 70s. Like,
Yeah.
people might think I'm a psycho. It wasn't, but it's like what the van brings up is so funny.
Yeah. I don't think anyone was ever really kidnapped, to be honest with you. I don't think it ever happened.
I mean, it makes sense to offer a kid candy in the van, but yeah.
The only time I ever had a run-in with a quote-unquote kidnapper, I was like 10 or 11 years old and riding my bike. I lived in Oceanside. We were in Roslyn. We rode our bikes real far. Some guy did drive up and say, "Do you want candy?" And we accepted the candy. It was fine. Nothing ever happened.
I mean, you never know. There are so many instances I'm sure you could think of where you're like, somebody was guiding me because
Yeah.
that was a really shitty. I like went in cars with men who had
Yeah.
misdemeanors. Like, I don't know why I'm a lot, I put myself in a lot of scenarios. Sometimes after I was a stripper in the city, I would take the train home. What? That's so nuts. Like, that is nuts. Anyway, I
You
just
survived.
survived. Something was fine. I mean, back to Brooklyn from like the 40s. That's
Oh, jeez.
crazy.
That is crazy. You're right. We were, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. My son ran track and he had a track meet in Staten Island, and we were driving back and we drove by. We used to go to a bar called The Bridge. It was in Far Rockaway, by the Rockaway Bridge.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this is where the bar was. My son's like, ooh, you used to go here as a kid. I'm
Oh my
like, yeah,
God, I feel
definitely.
like I remember it. It was like a faraway place
Yes.
because you had to cross the Marine Parkway Bridge.
Yep, exactly.
That's
Great
so,
place, though. Loved it. That's what we did as kids. So,
I mean, you have to love where you live. Like,
Mhm.
you have to really enjoy your environment.
yeah. Well, it's funny. Living on Long Island and by the city, I have a lot of friends who are like, oh, I can't wait to move out of here. I'm like, where are you going to go? Where can you go to the beach in 5 minutes, in New York City in 45 minutes? You can't go anywhere like that. North Carolina does not have that.
No, I love it here so much. I mean, if you talk to anybody from Rockaway, they'll go into their own version of this conversation.
Yeah.
Also for the arts, like I've done music videos, we've
Mhm.
made mini movies, shorts, because basically, I write this column and
Yeah.
because I was like, I want to write in the paper. So I approached the owner, Kevin, I forgot his last name at the time. And he was like, nah. And then I said, I really want to do it. He's like, great, have it in, on Monday
Cool.
morning, 10 a.m. And I've been writing an advice column since 2017.
That is amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
so tell me about, I want to know so everyone knows,
Yeah.
what books did you write? Tell me the books so everyone can go buy them.
Yeah. So they're all on Amazon. They've been #1 bestsellers. I'll go.
Cool.
So this one is called Fuck Your Fears.
Yeah, I'm going to buy that today, actually.
It's so fun. And it's also a workbook.
Uh-huh.
And also there's like mini tarot cards in the back or oracle cards. So they're each, you can cut them out and glue
Love
them
that.
together. Yeah, we're multidisciplinary. And
Yeah.
it's based on the 10 commandments to transform fear to joy.
Oh, my God.
I
Awesome.
know. So the first one is show the fuck up. The second one is play. The third is get curious, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
The fourth is treat yourself, express yourself, take risks. Everything is energy, be authentic, ninja boundaries, and create joy.
Love it.
Yes. And then Dear Enchantress is a bunch of articles that I've written in the Rockaway Times. And then the first one is another workbook from anxiety. It's about
Mhm.
transforming anxiety into pleasure.
Cool.
And so now I do a lot of work with couples because a lot of people are spending a lot more time indoors and
Mm-hmm.
they're living their coupledom as teenagers. They're
Yeah.
fighting about right and wrong and money, and they're just sort of quabbling all the time.
Yeah.
And now their kids are that way. And so I got a master's in marriage and family therapy. I use all the same tricks,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more focused. So that's another way people like to work with me. But anyway, I'm really excited about people creating art.
Yeah.
So even as a couple, they make art together, right?
Fun.
Not for sale. I mean, maybe, but when you make art together and you look at it and you're like, we made something, you make a kid, but some people don't have kids. So I believe at the core of our growth, we can measure it because art is something you can touch.
Mm-hmm.
When people work with coaches or mentors and they're just working on themselves, the ego is very strong and we
Mm-hmm.
need it to survive, but we don't get to touch something. But when a couple makes art and they see it on the refrigerator or they see it hung up in the hallway, they're like, we fucking made something. Remember when we did that thing together? And it brings them back to the growth. So, yeah, I think art to me is something really important because we can touch it, smell it, eat it. A meal can be art, but
Yeah.
that's a really important aspect.
Speaking of art, we actually, before this past fall, we went to Storm King. Have you been there before?
Yes, yes, yes.
Awesome. Loved
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And we brought my kids and like, what is this place? I'm like, this is art. They're
yeah,
like, really? I was
yeah.
like, yeah. I mean, we've driven by it probably 100 times and
Nice.
never went. But my brother lives up in that area. He's like, we're going. You should come. I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
It's You know what? It's beyond our scope of what we see. And
Mm-hmm.
that opens up that part of the brain that you can then use elsewhere. So
Mm-hmm.
I love learning about neuroscience because we actually have these grooves. And if we create a new groove, like you can make art that's the size of a dinosaur. What else can I do? And maybe your kid wants to be a welder.
Mm-hmm.
And as a welder, you don't just weld stuff for the city. I mean, you have a pension. People love talking about that stuff, but you also know how to use that tool to make a ginormous piece of art.
Yeah.
And you're like, guess what? I'm a welding artist. You
Yep.
don't need to take a class or a course to claim your genius.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so crucial to living your best life, no matter what is going on in the world.
Yeah, I think to your point, I think art is such a uniquely human thing, right? And I think one thing that separates us from animals is the fact that we can take any medium and just create something and then it's art. Could be a song,
Call it
could
a
be, call it art. Whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. And art is such in the eye of the beholder, right? Like it might move someone, it might not. But I really love and I'm really dying to go to the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors up by Poughkeepsie. It's what's his name, Alex Gray, who did all the Tool
yes,
covers.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm really dying to go there. Like it's been on our bucket list, my brothers and I, for a while, and
That's great that you
we
guys.
haven't done it yet. But I definitely want to go to that because that stuff to me is fascinating.
Yeah. And it actually leaves a mark on us. So it's
Hmm.
like, to me, that's therapeutic, right? So I like the word therapeutic because if we live life that way, if we go to a museum, I don't love museums.
Hmm.
If you put it outside, and now if you go in different seasons, it's a different experience.
Yes.
You go and, with different people, there's different impacts. If you go by yourself,
Hmm.
it's like the way we live our lives. People take a lot of photos and now we barely look at them, but
Yeah.
because it gives you a memory. And then it's that memory, it's like muscle memory. You're like, "Oh, remember that?"
Yep.
And so when you give that to yourself, it's a gift. And, for someone who might talk and say, like, oh, I want to do all these things and they don't do them, it's something so simple, like just put it on the calendar. Like,
Right. Right.
ever pick a Saturday in June and be like, plunk, there it is.
Exactly. Well, that's one of the things. Like my wife laughs because I do have a lot of hobbies, and they're rotating. Like this podcast thing was a new one for me, and it
Yes.
really came out from my friends and I always joke. I have like a lot of fun friends. My friends are awesome, and I have friends from Oceanside where I grew up, and we're still very close. All my guy friends, and we always joked about starting a podcast. And no one ever did it. So I was like, well, I'll just start it then.
Yes.
And I've had a few of them on already, and it's fun because they all do cool things, right? Like one guy is a classic car collector. Another guy is, like I said, a medium. which is pretty
Right. So
awesome.
that is awesome.
Yeah, this guy Mark, that the episode will come out in like probably a month or so, but this guy was his story is fascinating. He lost his girlfriend in 9/11, right? And which is insane. And he, from the moment she passed, even before he knew she was gone, he was getting signs that she was gone.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. And then, she passed, and then for the next few months, he was getting like sign after sign after sign. His story's wild. Yeah, yeah.
Good for him for
And he went.
that, not just for himself, but to unselfishly now give it.
Yeah, and he's like brilliant. And when he speaks, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. And he's really plugged into something. So I'm kind of like trying to follow in his footsteps. And the meditation thing came from him, so that's why I'm doing the meditation, which I enjoy.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, that's it. Listen, I think there's some fun big number. How many people have ideas? And like 3% of that big fun number actually take action. And listen, it's not going to feel good. You're not going to feel successful right away. You're going to feel like
Yeah.
wrong and weird and stupid. And guess what? Adults know that that feeling will pass.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're emotionally young, you're going to want instant gratification. And that doesn't come with something new. So it's okay. Just keep doing it. Number one, right? Show the fuck up. Just keep
Mm-hmm.
showing the fuck up. And after a couple of years, you can shift.
Yeah.
But you got to show up. You got to take action.
Well, it's funny. I tell kids all the time. I told a lot of the kids when I was teaching high school. I was like, "There's no easier time to be famous than right now.
Yeah.
If that's what you wanted to be. Like if you wanted to be a celebrity, you are one video.
Just like that. It can be just like that, where you're just like, oh, I'm going to put some light. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I remember, like, I think Justin Bieber was like maybe one of the first ones.
Yeah,
Like,
he was. Yeah.
so you don't even know. And listen, if anybody watches Gary Vee, he's
Yeah.
the one to be like, get on TikTok and da da da. It's available. We're basically making commercials. But you know what?
Yeah.
I do this challenge twice a year, and it's called Video Vixen. And
Okay.
it's changed form and shape in terms of like it's been 30 days, it's been 18 days, but it's 18 days of prompts where you go
Okay.
live and you talk about something. It has to be less than 7 minutes because sometimes you give people permission and then they're like 30, 40 minutes, nobody
Yeah.
comments, and they never do it again.
Yep.
You just give yourself permission to share something for 18 days and your life will be different. It takes 11 days, they say, to make a new habit.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, we all need comfort. There's been tragedy and loss, but we have to squeeze in things of discomfort.
Sure.
So we continue to grow and just don't end up homebound, 400 pounds, or being resentful, because
Yeah.
resentment leads to bad parenting and
Mm-hmm.
bad siblinghood and all that stuff.
I love the video vixen. That sounds fun.
Yes. Well, it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
can't help it. So it's like, yeah, I think there was a girl band called Vixen.
Vixen, for sure. Yeah.
And I wanted to, that's why I wanted to be a stripper. I used to watch White Snake videos and I was like, I'm going to be Tawny Katan. It all comes full circle. So everyone's weird childhood that they think is creepy and strange is like, I used to look at my dad's album collection and I
Uh-huh.
looked at Roxy Music and all these like sexy women. And as a young kid, I was like, I am that. I don't know why. I just like, because I think it was from another lifetime. I'm just comfortable in those environments.
Yeah.
More than a bar, more than a restaurant. If it's any kind of like strip club, I'm like, oh, thank God. But also,
Love it.
I think my theory is because it's the truth.
Yeah, you're
It's like,
right.
oh, we all want money and there's sexuality. Like
Mm-hmm.
in our real world, we're like, no, we're not. No, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Like, that's what we're doing. We want to be wealthy and we want to have sex all the time. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so in strip clubs, I feel like it's really the temple. It's really like the sanctuary of truth.
You're not there for the steak dinner. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're not there for the cocktails. Like,
Right,
I mean, I
exactly.
worked at a place where they didn't even have real alcohol. I'm like, so it's like if we can be that truthful, we don't have to go around, firing at people.
Uh-huh.
But we can know it for ourselves and then operate accordingly and give yourself that pleasure. And for me, it's being around the truth. And I
Mhm.
find that that's the place. I go to synagogue a lot. I find the truth there. My friends can handle the truth. It's like I can't hang out and talk about surface stuff. My head explodes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. You know, it's funny. I feel like we do live in such a puritanical society where it's like we, villainize sex and
Yeah.
drugs and rock and roll. But on the flip side,
In the
if you look-
80s, we really didn't.
no, that's the thing. I don't know what happened to us. I don't know where it turned, and I actually applaud this. Like you look at like OnlyFans, right? Like shit, you could go make a couple $1,000,000 in like a few months, and good on you. You don't have to go into some sketchy fucking place to do it. I think it's great.
I mean, but here's the other thing. It's like, I don't know what they're doing on there because I have an OnlyFans that I do. There's no nudity. There's like me being stoned eating knishes for 9 minutes. Like, I didn't really get the hang of it.
I'd pay for that.
I mean, I thought it was really interesting. It was. But I don't think, listen, there's like truth and connection that I crave. And it's one-sided on OnlyFans. So I'm like,
True.
I'm talking to nobody. This feels weird and creepy. I didn't like it. So I was over it after the Knish thing. I started it during COVID because I was like, I'm bored, I like attention. But it's really important to feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah.
If it felt good on OnlyFans and it felt like aligned, but it didn't. I was like, still boring. There's no people. I think if you have, here's what I'd love to create. If anyone in Long Island has this space, a sacred strip club where there's consciousness, there's communication, there's consent, and there's a pole and a stage, because I found so much self-love.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should write a book about that. It's almost, I knew when I was doing this show with you today that I was going to find something for myself, because since my dad has passed, I survived breast cancer. Like I've had some shit just go.
Okay.
And I'm like,
you're back.
I'm just like, I'm not sure where to focus. So like and I don't like living that way.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, Mike's going to bring something up.
So the conscious strip club sounds like the idea.
If the sacred strip club is supposed to be, then I am down for it.
It's a temple. It's a temple.
It's a temple. And also, like, we can dance for ourselves. We can dance for each other. It doesn't have to be mixed gender, like if people aren't ready for that. But there's so much freedom when you can own your walk on the stage and you can strut across the stage. The cells of your body are different.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Good. Things are happening.
Yeah, to be continued.
You heard it first.
Yeah.
So now, what are you working on now? Like are you writing any more books besides your column? What's happening?
So I'm working on the column. I'm now currently working on the Sacred Strip Club.
Cool, done.
Version of it, because I do, maybe it's not stripping, but it's stripping the soul. I do work with people. Yeah, I mean, I'm ready.
Ooh, I like that.
I just made that up. But actually, I help people celebrate their soul. So I love that. It's pretty consistent. I do have space for some more people. It could be in person or it's virtual, but it's a very efficient way to clear away anything that's in the way, to live a life that's celebratory. There's a black box theater that I'm working on ish. It's in my friend's garage. It sounds so local yokel when I talk to people like that.
I love it.
I love a black box theater because there's nothing in it but black walls, seats, and a stage.
That's cool.
So I produced my own one-woman show. It was 5 characters. I love helping people produce their own work. It could be to be famous, or it could just be for your own healing. Like when I did improv, I would use scenes from my life that were really painful, but I would play the other person, or I would give other people roles and watch it. So there's that. I think that there's a lot of healing in theatrical presence.
For sure.
I love that. And it could be part of the Sacred Strip Club. The reason, if you hear a little poo-poo in my voice, there's no heat in that building. So I was like, oh, let's do it in December or November. And then my dad passed and I was like, I don't want to work eating it and all that. So it will be happening in the spring. But if I could have a year-round place that has a stage, could host workshops and improv, and other people could come teach their work, that's my dream. I just love that.
So how can people get in touch with you, Shane?
So if you Google Enchantress Shane, that's one way. I'm all over social media. If you type in Enchantress Shane, if you have courage, just send me a DM. Like, we don't have to be complicated. I respond. Even for the most knucklehead people, I respond. I find humans interesting.
Yeah.
But if you want me to come work in your couple, if you want me to work in your neighborhood, we can figure out a way that works for you. I do work with different mediums, different people. Some people want costumes, some people want to sit down, relaxation session. But
Yeah.
really, it's more important what's going to be of service to the people
Mhm.
versus like, I'm offering this and this.
Right. There's no menu.
It's more like, let's have a conversation. I know what I offer and I could see what people need. And so that's how we do it.
Shane, so we're going to wrap this up. I'm so glad we spoke. I really am.
Ew.
And I'm so glad that, like, it's funny, when I started this thing, I was like, ooh, I should call Shane. And I don't even know why I thought of it because, like, again, you're in my feed all the time just because you do cool shit all the time. And I was like, we spoke like almost over a decade ago.
Yeah.
I definitely think she'd be perfect to talk to. And I was right. You're awesome.
I'm so glad because also I love to be invited. I'm really into human design. I won't go into what that is. It's like a really great thing, but it's important for me to be invited. And part of
Okay.
that is being recognized. Like if I'm invited, someone knows what I might or bring to the table. And I think we need to do that for each other. So thank you deeply for seeing that, for seeing yourself, for taking action, for doing the podcasts and for coming to this earth. I know you have lots of aliens going on around you. Yeah, it's
I love UFOs. I don't know. I've been super into them for a little while now. I don't even watch TV anymore. I have a YouTube channel. I basically like watch like YouTube, mediums and UFOs.
Yeah, lately I've been into watching moose in Canada.
Nice.
They're so wild.
They're huge.
Imagine they just walk around it's like a 7-foot wingspan.
Yeah. It's like a dinosaur.
That's what I said. But you might be from another planet. There's lots of people who believe and think that. So like
Possible,
great scene, actually. I put a lot of people in a different scene from another planet because it gives you a fresh slate. You're like, I don't know, I'm an alien. Guess what? I have no thoughts, feelings, or experiences based on Earth.
Love that. I love that.
Well, maybe come to my acting class one day.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm intrigued. I really am. Honestly, it's something I've never done before. I know for a fact my brother would love to do it, and I would go with him if he wanted to. So I'm gonna try to talk him into doing it.
Great. It's a Wednesday in February, 7 to 10 p.m. I'm going to nail the date. It's whatever inconvenience it is to get there. It's at this place on Beach 117th Street.
Okay.
Your week, your month, your life might be different. Like I'll just finish with this.
Do it. Yeah.
I used to go out a lot and I did Fire Island shares and I was like, party, party, party. Then I got introduced to this class. For 4 years, I stopped friendships, dating, vacations, weed, alcohol. I just went to class and I was living in Bay Ridge at the time, Riker Heights, and I drove at the most obnoxious times to the Upper West Side because it changed my soul. I've never been consistent in my life. It saved my life. And so however annoying it is to get there, just like show up. It's the work I talked about with the kids in prison and the little kids. Like it's life. It's amazing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I am really intrigued, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because it's something I've never done before.
I believe you. Yeah.
I'm all about like jumping out of my comfort zone right now.
Yeah,
That's the 2026 for me. So
amazing. Amazing. And everyone else is invited too. So yeah.
Well, Shane, listen, this was fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. And listen, we'll talk soon. I hope you come back on again. I feel like we need like a yearly Shane to keep up with you and to see what's next.
I would love it. Let's add some people who have questions. I'd love
Oh, yeah.
to do a scene online. That's
an awesome idea.
All right.
I love it.
Take care.
All right. See ya.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.